lady and let her know which direction it's going. So, who is in favor of having?
Well, the problem is if we get busted, we don't have
All right. Well,
Who are the three members?
Debbie, myself, Richard, and
Whose name? Yeah, Nancy. Nancy.
If we're gonna get into this, then I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna land in the
I need to
RPO.
know what your name is.
No, try to help.
Is that unreasonable to ask what your
That's
name
what I
is?
heard it here, and I'm very upset about it.
I am too. I hate the hell hours.
okay, we can hold off on the
No, I'm fine.
Villarica News and Views. The next thing we need to talk about is
No, I'm fine.
Here.
Okay, she's gonna have a seat.
Sandra. We need to address where y'all are gonna be at in the thing, and we've
Okay.
decided that we're just gonna go ahead and let you guys set up wherever it is that you guys wanna set up at.
I have a wedding that day, so these two are the ones that will be doing it. My stepson is getting, grandson is getting married
Okay.
at 12 o'clock. I
Well,
will
then
not be
y'all
there.
set up wherever it is that y'all wanna set up. Y'all wanna sit right up there by the front door, that's perfectly fine.
Well, we've done it every year right there, so that's where.
Okay, well then that's
That's fine,
fine.
I do it.
That takes care of that problem. Right now, we've got approximately 15 to 20 vendors. We've got one food vendor. It's a little bit lighter than it was last year, but we're going to be setting up mostly in the parking lot in front of the rec center. We're not going to have the car show in the parking lot like we had last year. Just trying to think, can you think of anything else? Deb?
Yes, there has been some question as to where the money is going. We have the checks right here. This year, everybody's getting their booth for free. I will be returning these checks to each person. If the city wants to get the money from them, the Crossroads Artisans will not be collecting any money.
That's good.
Now, and I'm hoping because of the large crowd that we have here today, that we're going to have some volunteers to help us out at the craft show. We need some people to help out with the parade.
I'm gonna help all I can, but I can't do a lot of it.
Okay, is the police here? We need to ask them about some questions. Does anybody know if one of the police officers is here?
I didn't see any of them. I didn't see
No,
any.
there, I ain't seen any.
Okay, well, we need to contact them. Last year we had at the entrance, we tried to keep the cars out during the actual festival. And there was some confusion about that, so we're going to just, with the permission of the suggestion of the police, we're going to let them decide whether or not we keep that blocked or open. Of course, I'd like to have room for the people who
Dumpster is and
towards
and you're
the back
out of the way there. You're not in anybody's way. You're just right there along the road.
well, like I said, y'all decide on that. We do know we're going to try to have a fire truck right there on the side of the
Ball
pavilion.
field, right?
Yeah, near the ball field.
Well,
yeah.
this is up by the road,
Okay.
right along the road there. There's enough space for us to park up there.
Is that where the bus is parked at right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Might be a
Yeah.
good idea to
From
move
there
the
up.
bus to the back so you can have more spaces to park.
May I ask what- Can we have to use, Mr. Mayor, do we have to use on-duty police officer like we wanted to help over there, or can we ask the off-duty was, I didn't know which way we did
The
it.
police department will do whatever is necessary
Cause
to
I'm sure they,
do this. They did last year.
yeah, I
And
thought so.
if they call in somebody, see, this is supposed to be a city-wide event. The PD's supposed to help, the rec's supposed to help, everybody is supposed to help and be involved in this. And like I was saying earlier, the city council was impressed by last year's event, and this is why that money was put aside in the budget this year. You had none last year. The city council saw fit to put money in there to help sponsor this activity, to have a Founder's Day for the city of Temple. And I have asked all department heads to fully support this thing. If we're going to put taxpayer money in there, then we want all the departments to be supportive of this event, one day a year. Last year, the state, thing was mentioned that we didn't know what day. And so the artisan group chose the last Saturday in September to have it annually, the last Saturday in September. We know that's the day. Now, since we know that today, let's everybody put our bickering aside, cut the crap out, and let's support, this event. Because if we want to use taxpayer money to do that, and like I said, that guy that y'all had for that street dance, amazing. I don't know if I'll be able to stand the whole band. If they're better than this one guy, how would that band?
Lester,
What
speak
a
up so we
good-
can hear.
Ma'am?
Speak up so we can hear out here.
What a good event, that turned out to be. The parade, as I sat up there on the corner with my camera videoing it, it just kept coming. The best parade that this city has ever had.
Excuse me,
And
can
I
we get
am-
our president in here?
I am here commending, y'all for your effort. I am here to help.
Jonathan, come on in, honey.
So that's what we want, all departments of the city, including the PD, come on in, John, to be involved in this and to help. We'll do whatever we can. So the PD will be there, and they will be there for the parade, and they will help all day. Now, last year, we did have two officers, the two that was going to the police academy. They brought them in to watch the vendor stuff that night. So I can assure you that the PD will be supportive of this event.
Debbie, would he consider it a quorum now to vote on the advertisement?
We've got Bernard and Judy and David and Martha.
Okay.
So it's half and half. I guess.
Well, why don't we go ahead and vote on that? We won't set this as the final vote.
Okay.
We'll call and get the
Get a
final vote.
proxy, okay.
You're probably
For your
near.
benefit, the Villarican News and Views called us,
Yeah,
and they want to put an ad in their thing, but they're wanting to charge $75 for it.
oh, I see.
It's a quarter page
Yeah,
ad.
We did it last year.
yeah.
So let's do a quick vote on whether or not we want to do that, and then I'll contact the other members and get their vote, and that'll give us an idea of whether or not we're going to do it. So all in favor of putting the ad in the paper, raise your hand. Okay, so that's 4 votes.
We'll
Getting,
have to get a PO for that.
yeah.
We'll have to get a PO for that.
Speaking of which, any money that's been spent on the Founder's Day so far has been recorded through POs, and we haven't really purchased a whole lot. We did pay for the band, which is going to be
Yes, that was paid for in full today.
okay. And there was some of the signs were missing some of the metal parts, and so we had to get a few more of those. And we got a sign for the pony rides. And
Because all that will be, Scott McGuire is donating his time and his horses, and possibly even a wagon. And all of the donations from the horse and pony rides will go to Shop with a Cop.
Last year, there was Miss Fisher was selling jewelry, and all her proceeds went to Shop with a Cop. they would not allow her to put a sign up that said it was, y'all did not allow her to put a sign up that said that all donations went to Shot with a Cop. She donated everything, even her amount that it cost her to make the jewelry, everything, 100%
You're
went
talking
into
about
it.
Howard's sister.
I'm talking about
That's correct.
Howard's sister,
Right,
that's correct.
which he did not tell me last year that was his
Which,
sister.
can you tell me if that makes a difference, if any vendor should, is it supposed to be disclosed if they are related to anyone here in the city? Tell me, I'd like to answer. He did not want to take any credit for her donations, her 100% donations to the city. It went strictly, he wanted it all to go with her, not Howard's sister.
Okay.
Now,
We're
my
trying-
question is.
We're trying to have a positive
Okay,
meeting
okay,
here.
my
Let me
question
And you're trying to
is-
make
Let
it
me
negative. Can you
explain.
please?
Let me
My
explain.
question is,
Let
how
me
come you
explain.
can put a sign up now and you couldn't last year?
If you'll let me, I will explain that to you. Pony rides, horse rides, that's one item. One item. There were other people in that show that were selling jewelry.
You. Were you?
I-
Were you?
Yes, I was selling jewelry,
Okay,
but
thank
you
you.
know what? I didn't have time to man my booth because I was going around helping
Was he?
everybody else. No, it wasn't in there. He was taking care of other things. Nobody was in my booth most of the time. I sold a whole $10. Wow.
I think everybody got the gist of it.
Yeah.
All right, getting
No,
back to the
there
meeting.
were many other people in there selling jewelry.
Me
And-
too. I saw you.
Yes, Jonathan sells jewelry. The people that are in this Artisans Club collectively have over 150 years' experience doing craft shows.
And who would that be?
Who would that be? Jonathan Edwards,
Okay.
Nancy, myself, my husband,
Okay.
Martha, Judy.
Martha,
I'm not giving you their names unless
I'm
they
sorry.
want me to.
You're representing yourself as
Because
doing it
you've
on the
already
behalf of the
started
city,
checking
Mayor.
up on Jonathan. I'm not going
Mayor.
to give you any other names for you to
This
go around.
is an art guild, and all we want is names. We can't even get the names of the art guild. Now you answer me. Why wouldn't they give you the names?
Because of what you've already done harassing people.
Harass,
No,
ma'am. Who have I harassed?
Could we please, stay on?
Who have I
the art
harassed?
deal and cut out the, bickering and stuff and save that for another day, you know, we're up here to try to do something nice
Then-
for this city.
Lester,
And this
all
is
we
what
want is
this,
answers.
Miss Walden,
That's right.
we're up here trying to do something nice for this city.
Hey, I'm asking
And,
logical
that's,
questions.
what
Am
we're
I not
trying to
asking
do.
logical questions?
Go ahead.
To continue on with what we got planned for Founder's Day.
Y'all keep in mind, I was not answered.
We have a hayride that we're going to be doing. Last year that we charged for it, and we're going to not charge for a hayride. We're going to have one of the recreational people with one of those gator things, be pulling a trailer with some hay in it. The car show, even though, or the cars, what was the name of that group? The
Golden City Cruisers.
who were here last year and were in the parade and did a brief car show. They are going to be in the parade, but they're declining to come and be in it, have their car shown.
Well, they wanted to be in it, but they only wanted to stay here about an hour and a half. And with children all around, it would not be wise to have cars in and out of that area where children were. So if they could not stay until 4 o'clock, then it was not safe for them to stay just an hour and a half.
Okay.
Can I
Yep,
ask a
yes.
question? What about, you mentioned something about having an exhibit for the children of arts?
Yeah, we
We've tried.
really haven't gotten a chance to really organize that well. I think it was a fabulous idea, and for people that don't know what she's talking about, to help maybe even possibly draw people into the historic exhibit. We were thinking about seeing if we could get some of the kids to show their art and then maybe even judge that too. But we just wasn't able to work out all the details on that. As far as the whether or not we block the entrance or not, that will determine whether or not we need some help from volunteers with that. So I'd like to ask now of this group who would like to volunteer, and if we could take your name down, I'd greatly appreciate it. Debbie, can you copy down their names?
And also, may I ask you a question? Are we still accepting vendors?
Yes.
Yes, but they must fill out an application. It will be free from now on, but before they have to be accepted by the committee. So they will have to fill out an application. They can't just show up.
One of the
Oh, they wouldn't.
qualifications.
What does
about-
accepted mean?
Yeah, accepted
What's
me.
qualification?
It means to make sure that what they are vending is appropriate for the show, such as we do not want any pornography.
No.
We don't want anything that's unacceptable. We had a gentleman who wanted to come in and sell nothing but Confederate flags. We felt that was inappropriate, and we told him no. So therefore, that's the kind of things that we weed out.
Did
Are
y'all,
inappropriate.
did y'all invite the vendors back that was here
Yes,
last
we
year?
did.
We did.
I never got a call. I don't
I
think
left
this
you a
sister got
message,
call.
David, but you
did.
said you didn't wanna come if anybody else is doing barbecue. That's what you told
When
me
did I tell
last
you that?
year. You told me that
No, I
last
didn't
year,
tell
that
you
you
that.
wouldn't do that. Yeah, you
It
did.
didn't bother me. I didn't even sell barbecue.
Anybody that
Miss
wants
Bishop
to-
hasn't, the
I'll be
jury
there this
didn't
year.
get a call either.
If you'll stay long enough, we'll give you a.
Anybody that wants to volunteer, please put your name and telephone number there.
And my question is, do you have to like fill out an application for what you're volunteering for?
No.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The application, just do it on the backside.
'Cause I had to
Oh,
do-
Like
oh,
that,
okay,
yeah.
sorry about
I
that.
have to do
So-
something simple, not in the sun all day long.
What time is the parade?
What time
Well,
is it?
we're
It's
gonna
not
have,
month.
we're gonna
It's-
probably have a hospitality tent, so that might be one of the areas you might could work in.
Please. What time is the parade?
The parade starts at 10 o'clock.
So we have to be there about before
We get there at
about nine, yeah, to set up.
I had two questions, if I may. I want to know, we need information about the 5K. We need to be able to share that with the,
They have not communicated with us at all. I have asked, other than to say that they're handling it. And it was a gentleman from Providence Elementary.
Providence then is who they need to
Yes, and
contact.
they just told, or called the high school, they just told me they're handling it. I tried to get information, but
Okay.
it's not very
Got a lot of
communicative.
citizens asking how they get involved, how can they run
Right,
and whatnot.
right.
I
I
need to know
would
what to tell them.
love to know that information myself, but
And then the second question, you guys voted on the marketing, and I appreciate the marketing because I'm a vendor for Founder's Day. Me and Debbie spoke last week, and I suggested that we do what they did 2 years ago and put something in the water bills. And we just, she was told that what you told me was the city manager said we couldn't afford to do it.
that's what Mr. Baxley told me
Okay.
last year.
This came in my water bill today, folded up from the city. Just a reminder that we have a new phone number. So I just couldn't understand why we couldn't have had a piece of this
Oh,
page
I
to say
can-
Temple Founder's Day.
I would have loved to have done that, but I was told by Mr. Baxley last year we could not do that.
Okay. But, we did it 2 years ago.
Honey, all I can tell you
Oh, I know,
is they told me no.
I got
I
your back
can.
as far as this Founder's Day goes.
Mr.
I want it to be a huge success.
Mr.
I
Baxter's
do.
not here, would, they still won't let you do it? He said
I did
no.
not, I
Oh, you
I
didn't
did
ask?
not ask. I have been
And I
very
was
busy and I
late
had
when I
surgery
suggested it.
and some other things, and he was late when he
Yeah,
suggested it.
I was late when I
This
suggested,
is
but I was
why we-
shocked to see this in my water bill today
Right.
after a conversation you and I had last week.
This is why we beg people to come to these meetings way back, way back, beg people to come to meetings, to offer ideas like this, because we can't think of everything.
Is anybody outside of this room wanting to volunteer to help with Founder's Day?
I hear you now.
Okay. If you'll come in here
Come on in,
and
Rick.
put your name down and
Into
the
that
number
form
where you
if
can
you
contact
want.
you.
There you go, dear.
You could stand over there.
Yeah, it was full.
It's on the other side.
I was pushed in here now.
You're not very fat, you can squeeze in.
Do we know
Y'all
what kind
able
of
to tell
vendors we
Danny
got
that
so
he
far,
can't
so I
play
know what kind to
26?
try to get? Like
The mayor told
a lot
me
of jewelry,
that
funnel
it was
cake,
taken
food,
care of, that
crafts.
the
As far as I
26th
know,
was for Founder's
um,
Day and Founder's Day only. And I have not spoken to
I know.
anyone other than,
Because I'll have to go tell him tomorrow, Saturday night, whenever that gets here.
I was
If he doesn't know.
understood that that was taken care of, that the mayor said that everybody would.
We got an
cooperate.
email, but I didn't know if you had spoken to, anybody had spoken to him before that, because I don't go to the dances. I go by and clean up and put stuff out and that's it.
What was the question, Sandra?
Has anybody told Danny that he's not to play that night?
Who is Dan?
Danny Moe.
It has a dance on the 2nd and 4th and 5th Saturday.
I have been saying this in department head meeting, all along and everywhere. I expect
I have listened.
all departments to cooperate with this. They're going to have a dance and a band
Thank you,
up
sir.
there at night.
So nobody's told him you want me to, and that's all I need to know.
Please,
Thank you.
please do.
I got you.
We want everybody, I told, Joe, I thought everybody understand. Let's try not to have any wreck, let's try not to have nothing, but this day is for Founder's Day. And I am so embarrassed. You try to put on something nice for this city, and last year's was such a success. And this is what I am doing here tonight, like I did last year. Mr. Walden come, last year to some of the meetings. We're here to offer our help to this group, not to run the show, but to offer our help and to offer the city's help to help run this show. And we want to do that. We want, yes, ma'am.
I was just curious, other than helping the city or showing arts and crafts for the city of Temple, is there a particular fundraiser that you're doing?
Some of it last year, some of the proceeds or some of the people donated their stuff for shop.com.
Right, but there's no set particular charity or...
But they have been trying for the longest to get people to come up and volunteer. And
Can I answer that?
Wish people, you sure can just a minute, I wish people had come up here to do that, to help, rather than this big. It's not on the floor.
Last year, Derek Vandiver was taking up donations for Noah Bishop. And he came back to, after our craft show, he came back to our club, was wanting to know if we could do something on a yearly basis with the Temple's Founders Day Festival that would go to funding what was it that he called it?
Just a general fund so that anybody living within the city limits of Temple, if they had a catastrophic problem, a fire or anything, that we would have ongoing fund to be able to help them financially. Because a lot of people will jump in with clothing and food and so forth, but sometimes they just need cash. And so this was the idea, but our attorney said we couldn't do that.
There was some things, I think they had to be they had to be registered as a nonprofit organization.
And they just weren't big enough. They weren't, to become registered as a nonprofit, it takes several $1,000s and a lot of hoop jumping to do it. Whereas most people, they just consider it a club, a small club that doesn't do more than, a couple of $1,000s a year with racing things. People don't, critique them to the point where they can't function,
Right.
which is what's happened here. And the art guild itself, we went to the mayor and said we wanted to start an art guild that would help promote art in West Georgia. And we said we offered to help organize Founder's Day in lieu of rent for a place to meet once a month. In doing that, one of the things that we had hoped to do, because there is no art teacher at Temple High School, we actually had a number of our artists. Jonathan is a very excellent artist, does what is known as Aussie art, which is most unusual. It comes from Australia. Something these kids may have never seen before. We were all going to get together and have the room over at the rec center and offer free classes. But we've had to deal with so much of the garbage. We haven't been able to pursue our dream, but that was the whole premises behind starting this guild, was to help our young people.
To extend their education.
To extend their education. That was our whole goal from the very beginning. But we can't fight and produce at the same time.
Did I answer your question?
No, so I wanted a question. We were talking about, how you, Ms. McIntosh, how we giving to a charity or, raising money. Why not raise money for our children at Temple, the backpack program, the shot with a cop. Me and Miss Ruby are passionate about that. Why not put the money in Temple in a general fund for the children and the shot with a cop, so we'll have a reserve when we run out of money or run out of
The
food.
attorney said we can't do that.
But we can give to a charity, we can't give to the city, the Temple backpack.
The city cannot participate according to the attorney. We asked if something like that can be done, and the attorney said, no, you can't do it because it has to do with a government entity. As a private, but not owned,
Yeah.
yes, it is a private club, but everybody's invited to join it. It's private for the people that we asked to be there, and everyone I have continuously
We
put
can't get an
out on
actors on the
social
board.
media to come and join us and be part of this. We have been doing it ever since its inception. As a club like that, we could have done that, but other people have hounded us because we don't have that state certification.
Oh, I know all
that
about
we're-
that, cause I ran a charity for 9 years next to City
Well,
Hall.
with the new laws that they have, a small entity like
you
this
licensed?
cannot
Susan,
afford
that's what
it.
sure was. We found out
It's
one
changed
like
tremendously.
It's only cost about
We do nothing
350
legal.
bucks.
Well, not according to the state now.
According to the state website, I was looking at today.
Well,
Well,
when
we
I talked
contacted
to
a lawyer, and that's how much they
There's
told
no
us.
different than
Yeah.
anybody
If you
getting
go
a
through a
club
lawyer,
and
you
coming
have
up here and
to
saying,
talk
I
Well,
want
I
to raise
contacted the
money.
state.
That was
and
my
I told
whole
you you had
question
to
here.
go.
I heard coming there, Bobby's ready, but you
Well,
know
that's
we
what
were
they told
charity
us.
nonprofit.
We don't even have $300 to do it. Our club, it just barely, we charge $24 a year dues. $24 a year, $2 a month. We have not raised any money for ourselves whatsoever. In fact, we have put money out for the city of Temple and never were reimbursed for it. Our members have spent their time and their gas and their own money on different things and have never been reimbursed. And do you know what? Half of our club doesn't even live in the city limits. They're just people who want to help with art for our children. And they're met with, we asked the city, and the city council voted that they would let us buy a ham with some of the money that was left over last year so we could have a Christmas party. When I went up to the city hall, we were denied it and said, no, you can't have it.
Why is a private club in charge of a city event?
We're not in charge.
Good
We
question.
offer to help organize it.
Well, I think that's most people's problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Lester was speaking earlier about having this money that he's giving, the city's giving, but where is that money that was given? You're
Every
talking
bit
about
of
not
that
being
money,
reimbursed.
every bit of the money that we have spent this year is on a PO and has been recorded. Every single penny.
Mr. Rockwell.
Last year, all of the vendor fees and everything went to the city. And some of the record keeping was pretty shocking.
Very, very poor. Last year, it
The problem
indicated,
is,
the
Mr. Rockwell,
receipt
as a
indicated that
citizen, you can
Mr.
come up here under oath and records
The
and hit
city-
any document you want pertaining to the Founder's
I
Day.
just think it's a
The-
poor idea to have
But
a
if a
private
private
club in charge
entity-
of a city
If
event.
if a private entity has it, you have no right for their records. You have no right.
I'm not
the-
concerned with their records, but if the city's giving her money, then we all need to be
Well, I'm
concerned with
concerned
those
because
records.
you got vendors putting money in on behalf of the city of
Not
Temple,
anymore, they don't.
putting it in a private account. No, because I brought it to good light.
No, that's
But-
not why. That
but-
is not why. The
That's my
records
problem.
that were poorly kept very indicated from your receipts that Mr. Hudgens paid $50, but yet on his application, he was only supposed to pay he paid $35.
This little poor bookkeeping, it had not been for this bookkeeping,
Well,
her
look at
lie
this.
about not charging the seniors last year.
Wait a minute,
No
oh,
one-
wait,
no
wait,
one-
I'll
no
answer
one
that,
told
I'll
her.
answer that
No one
question,
told
if
her.
you allow me to. If Sandra was here, I wish she was here,
She's sitting out there.
we did
Sandra.
not ask the
That
seniors.
man right there paid for it to keep y'all from bugging Sandra Stillwell at the senior building.
We didn't ask them at all for any money.
You're telling a lie. This
We
right
never
here,
asked.
this right here, Lester, if you don't
We
say
did
something
not
right
know
now, you ain't got,
anything
you ain't, you
about
don't
it.
need
We
to be
knew
mayor.
nothing about it, Linda. We
This
did not
is,
receive any application for the seniors. We knew nothing about
Sandra.
it.
This
Sandra.
is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
ridiculous for somebody to try to do something good for this city. This is
And
just
they don't want
absolutely ridiculous.
anybody to do anything good for this city. They don't want,
All right, okay.
$35
Free
because
booth
the
and they
receipt
have to
says
pay.
50. Jody Wilson has $35, but he only paid 30. We never did receive an application for the seniors, not anything in here. I've got them all right here. Never received
There
an
is a
application.
receipt.
There's where they paid.
See where they paid, right there.
Would you like to see where David
Yeah.
Hutchins marked that he paid 35, but you say he paid 50? Would you like to see where Jody marked that he was paying 35, but he only paid
Don't
30?
tell people that they didn't pay when they
My
paid.
goodness.
Here, it's
My
right here.
goodness, this is just dang
Craig.
embarrassing
Craig Lee,
for people
can I have you come in for just a second? We
come
need to
up
ask you a
here
question.
and try to be putting on something for the people of this town to enjoy.
You can't
This
do
is
that when you
wrong.
got people lying
This
to
is-
you and
this
holding
is-
information.
This is ridiculous. This is just absolutely ridiculous.
Craig,
There's Jones.
I
Sir,
mean, y'all can either disagree
I
or.
need to ask you a question.
that y'all did last year.
About the
I am
parking
so
lot this year.
sorry that people
Last
don't
year,
bring in
we had somebody at the
personalities
entrance to the senior area and the rec area to keep people from coming and driving in and out all the time. We had that sort of like blocked.
Her receipt says that.
We're not gonna have the car club in the parking lot.
This is his
Do
handwriting.
you think it's necessary for us to block that entrance to keep traffic out during the traffic show?
Okay. What I was told with the traffic that was inside was the people that was vendors. Okay, and if you got vendors in there, would it be enough for through traffic? Some people dropping off merchandise, materials, or
Well, that's
whatever.
supposed to be done between,
The night
9
before,
and,
the night before, or
yeah,
up until,
and 9 to 11, well, actually,
10,
we asked
9
them
to
to be
10.
out by a certain time.
yeah.
One particular person kept his car there after the time
Okay.
limit, and we asked them to move their car, but they refused to.
Okay.
That was the only problem we really had in that
Okay.
department.
How I see you can eliminate the whole problem is designate whatever vendor there, designate them 2 parking spaces per vendor. Therefore, if anybody need to drop off something, they can drop it off and keep going. So we'll keep an officer there to keep the traffic flowing. Therefore, if you got a tent and you got a tent set up, you got 2 spaces, one for you or one for who helping you. The third one is just gonna be there if you just driving through. So that's 2 parking spaces per vendor. That should be
That's not the biggest
enough.
problem is during the actual festival. Do we want moving traffic in there at that
You
time?
shouldn't have it.
We shouldn't have it, but you never know. Somebody always got somebody need to drop something off or do something. It's gonna be hard to keep somebody out. And I've tried that. When you block it off, and then your grandson comes and says, "I need to hand my granddad his wallet."
Well, I'm sure there's gonna be some
It's not gonna be
exceptions.
the whole time. If we volunteer, are we gonna have to be criticized and maligned the entire time?
Probably so. So are you suggesting that we kind of block that off during the actual festival?
Yeah, they did every other year. They blocked it off when the festival was going.
Yeah.
The ones that were there and parked, you stay there,
Right.
you know, until,
Right.
I mean, that sounds like a good. So in other words, once you get set up, everybody know when they set up right when the festival starts. I say block it off. People who need to come through is emergency. Therefore, we're expecting them to drive in, and that same car we're expecting to drive out.
Right.
In other words, so I think keep it the same, but we designate parking spaces per tent.
Well, we designated the vendor's parking space as the new parking space.
yeah.
Up there near the new soccer field. That's where we're gonna send our vendors parking.
So what if they need to go get something? I mean, like, if they got an emergency, drop off a
Well,
bunch of
what
chicken.
we're hoping to do, if we get enough volunteers and the rec department, which I wish they were
The
here,
gator.
we're gonna have the gator going from there. During the time that the vendors are setting up, we're hoping to be able to help transfer them back and forth to the parking lot if necessary. And then, of course, after the show is over, the same
Do
thing.
we have anybody to volunteer beside one gator? I mean, we could get more. I'd pick drive the gator. I mean, I don't mind.
Well, that's a city property, and it really needs to be handled by probably somebody in the rec department. Is that not correct?
Maybe it would be nice if a city let people drove wreck equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say bring a price.
Mr. Mayor?
I was gonna say.
Yes.
I suggest that you use the van
to transport handicaps.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
It's 15 passenger vehicle,
That's a
uses
good idea.
someone with a license
That's a good idea, Sheriff.
to transport people in and out of that area.
That's a
Well,
good,
now,
great idea.
The parking for the people who are coming in, you know, the visitors and stuff,
Yeah.
they're gonna be parking, in that parking lot where the old Sewell building is. So you're suggesting that we have a van go up there and get handicapped people and bring them?
Or people
So
that,
many people are not gonna be
You know,
able to walk that far.
that's it, and it's
And a
gonna be
gator is
hot.
not safe.
Well, last year, it was an advantage to have people parking up there because we had a lot of our vendors coming down that walkway that you get to the rec center.
Because we had a lot more people.
We had a lot more people. We're not going to have quite that many people, so we're going to be setting up in the parking lot in front of the rec center. So your idea sounds like a pretty good one if we can get somebody to volunteer to, but it would have to be a city employee, wouldn't it?
Has to be a city
Yeah,
employee
well,
with a
I'm
valid
sure
license.
that some of the seniors up there will have somebody that's qualified to.
now,
We have-
Billy, who drives it, is not, it's already committed to something else
Okay.
that day, so he's not even gonna be in town that
If we can
day.
find somebody, that's a very good idea.
He's our driver.
Well, you know, if we don't have a driver, you know, that may not be a
Did I ever answer
possibility.
your
No, I'm just saying, so if someone privately, since we're on city property, we have to use the city gators, we can't bring our own gator and just sort of volunteer to shuffle them around and stuff. That's
You're
what
gonna
I'm
be
saying.
responsible if they fall off.
No, I'm not me, I'm just saying in general.
I'm saying
Yeah.
in general.
Nobody's gonna want to
Somebody
take
gets
that
hurt, it'll be
That's what I was
responsibility.
wondering.
You
Yeah.
don't need to haul people around on the gator, your private gator, you're gonna have to pay if they fall and.
Yeah, that's the reason I was
Bust their head.
asking if they could have private ones.
I don't think that's going to be a good idea, just from a liabilities standpoint.
I just worry about the scene.
Vendors don't need to get their cars in and out. You're set up by 10
Yeah.
and that's it. Then you're in there until 4 o'clock. Now, like, if you run out of ice, you may need a way to go get it. But if the vendors are parked on the outside somewhere, they can walk to their car and leave and come back. But vehicles shouldn't be allowed in the festival area at all.
That's why I was suggesting that only person that come in, you say who you with, and you can drive around, but we expect you to come back out. But the vendors, did y'all have your cars, your vehicles tagged last year?
No, we did.
We're gonna come up with some kind of special tagging to put in the dashboard, and it's gonna be by number. That number is gonna represent that vendor. If y'all can go ahead and take a note, put that number in for that vendor. If you whatever you sell for vendor, he's number 13. That's gonna be his number. So if we look on the list of who's 13, we know who to exactly go to. Therefore, he can't take it out and give it to somebody else. So now that vendor can go in and out if he have to leave, and his parking space remains the same because you're gonna pretty much have designated parking space. But further in and out traffic, it's still gonna be hard to just say nobody
Well, we
can come
don't
in and
allow
out.
anyone to leave. They cannot pack up and leave before 4 o'clock.
Okay, good. Well, he can use whoever he need to bring. Just say, hey, you with car 13. So now I'm looking. He driving in. We expect you to drive back out. There shouldn't be nobody parked
The
other
problem
than.
with that one right now is that we're so close to the festival that I don't know that we can get the material out to the vendors in time.
Can't pack your
Get you some highlighted paper, put numbers on it, and laminate it. Just that simple. Hey, I can do it tomorrow. Get highlighted paper, get a crazy color like a pink or orange, a bright orange. Put numbers on it, put the vendor name on it, laminate it, and send it to them.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Will we need a police presence to block the entrance, or do we need a volunteer to stay there?
Best to probably get, I guess, a volunteer, but we still have police there, and we make it our priority to be there. You know, I don't know further the city how they want to incorporate paying officers to come in and work. I get with the chief on that, but right now we still show a presence. It's kind of like you having something here, and I have 2 or 3 officers just keep riding through. It's still public service.
If
So
you can give us an idea as soon as possible, that way we'll know whether or not we need to designate a volunteer for that.
go ahead and designate one, but we still have somebody there. You get me? The worst case scenario, something happened, because if something happened out here, we're gonna vacate that and go to that wherever the event is going on. But my thing is, we'll have a couple of extra officers working that day due to our overtime issue. We'll get back with the city on that. We'll have a couple of officers working, extra officers, and they'll be all out there just hanging out there. So if y'all need them, they're there.
If I may make a suggestion, the seniors are gonna park in the handicap parking place, if they'll come in and stay.
No, we don't. We park along the road there where the
On the road, okay. Last year, there was people wanting to park inside.
Not the seniors.
But, the thing about it is, we don't want any cars in that area where children will be running around with their fire trucks.
Okay, y'all need to rope and tag it off.
So I'm thinking to just anybody that comes in there,
Just rope and tag it
they're
off.
gonna have to stay the whole day.
Yeah, rope it and tag it off, and then I'll pass the word out to the
Because we
officers.
don't want any children to be.
Where they see the orange tape or whatever y'all got up there, there shouldn't be no vehicles parked there. So if you can politely go ask them to move the vehicles, which we shouldn't have that problem if everybody, if a vendor's got his own car, two people running one vendor thing, it should be one car in a space.
Well, we had some vendors last year that we did have to threaten to have them towed because the vendors refused to leave their cars. We did not invite them back this year.
They refused to leave the car?
Excuse me, remove their car.
Okay, you mean remove it as in when, as if thing was over?
No, we had allowed them to bring their car in to set up. And we told them as soon as they were set up, they had to take their car and leave the area because we had the car show coming in.
Okay.
And there was one particular person there was one gentleman who came in to use the bathroom and he had a fit, so we just said, okay, go to the bathroom, but you've got to get out of here.
Okay.
And then the other gentleman, his car was parked right in the middle of where the car show was going to be. And so I went around the whole complex saying, whoever's car that is, because I knew it was a vendor. And I said, your car, if it's not moved within such a time, it will be towed. Because we've got this car show coming in here.
Okay. You got everything in writing? Anything right when you pass out to the vendors?
We have rules that
Just
we have given them,
put it
and
in
they are
writing if
supposed
you
to
can
abide by
before.
them.
Type it out, put it in bold writing. After you unload your vehicle, you will have to move.
They had it last year.
The first thing what you need to do is notify. Just tell the police right then and there. And right now, I run the tag. I have to call them out by name on the tag.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, come move your car. Mr. Smith, or whoever you is driving, to move your car. And then that's where that kind of eliminates some of that right there. Just got you. They just gonna brush you off. So you're gonna have to tell them the police will be out there to ask you to move your car. So it is what it is. But have it in writing because if you got something in writing, that's gonna help. Help on
we had it last year, but some people abide by rules and a lot of people don't. What?
Put it in writing.
What I'm saying, if Greg, what you said was made good sense, highlight a thing.
Yeah.
As the vendors come in, can they not give the vendor that number so they have them as 1, 2, they can come as they come
How do you want to
mail
do it? Yeah, because
I mean, I know they're doing it.
He might come before he comes. She might come last.
They probably could come by City Hall.
Maybe that's something you could be in charge of.
Yeah, just hand them out the number. Here, you highlight 1, y'all direct them 2.
Be there about 9 o'clock and then you
I got
be in
plenty
charge
of numbers, so why don't I
So
make
they
about
couldn't even make it
30 or 40
City
and hope, I do that. I got plenty of highlights.
If you'd be in charge of handling that, make sure that, because we've given them the rules, but some people
That's
just
what
don't
I'll
read.
do. I highlight the numbers for you because it's a one-day event. They can just stick it in the window of the car or somewhere. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Does anybody in the club here have anything else that we need to discuss?
A lot of our members weren't able to get in here, so.
Yeah, the meeting should have been out there with all these people here.
We've been having it right in here.
We've
and haven't
never
trouble.
had this many people here before.
Well, y'all should be grateful that you got a big crowd.
Well, we didn't get very many volunteers.
No, we didn't.
Everybody going
A
to
lot of
volunteer?
people out there don't know what's going on.
Well, does anybody want to volunteer?
Yeah.
We'll pass it out here.
Yep.
Let's pass that out there too.
I just had a question. How do you make the vendors stay until 4 o'clock?
Well,
Then they'll get invited back the next year. It's something that has always been done in craft shows, and anyone that has any experience with craft shows at all knows that if you leave before an event is over with, you are blackballed, and word gets
So-
around,
so
and you will not get in a lot of shows.
So the ones that left early last year didn't get
Did
invited
not get
back.
invited back.
So that's why we're probably down to 20
No, there
vendors
was
this year.
one
Patricia
person left
Official
early.
didn't leave early.
Why?
She didn't leave early, yeah, and she didn't
She
get
hasn't been
invited.
invited back.
Mhm.
Again, she sells.
Anyway, it's hard to enforce
No,
making
she gives
somebody
jewelry
stay.
away.
I would
It's
think.
common courtesy if you're a vendor to show you stay from the beginning to the end.
God should know that.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it
get
is,
blackballed.
yeah.
You get blackballed.
Yeah,
and
you
you're
don't
not
pack up and
asked
leave
back.
early.
No,
They
it's
did it
okay.
years ago, Founder's Day, and, I mean, everybody was gone by 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
I stayed and made tons of money, because I was the only vendor that stayed for the shows afterwards.
I just
What time do
couldn't.
you want the volunteers where?
Okay, it depends on what you're gonna do to help. I need some people that are gonna help me with the parade. And I'll have to call and see who's gonna be able to help me with the parade. If you're gonna help me with the parade, you're gonna need to be at the high school by 9 o'clock to help coordinate. We usually have about 3 parking lots full of people in the parade. The school is in one parking lot, the car club is in the other parking lot, and everything else is in the bigger parking lot on the lower end. And I got a lot of help last year from.
I'd be there at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, where do we park at, the volunteers?
I was at marching band too, so I could help.
It depends on what, well, if you're gonna do that, just come on over to the rec center. Anybody's gonna be in the parade, we'll coordinate to get them parked back when they get
Yeah, I'm
through
gonna
the
do the
parade.
sign thing at the senior
Just
center, just
come,
park
yeah.
there.
Just,
I'm sorry, what time did you say?
The parade,
Yeah.
if you're gonna volunteer for the parade, you need to be at the school by 9 o'clock. The parade will start at 10 o'clock.
So y'all got your handicap situation straightened out?
Well, someone suggested the bus being used to go up to the parking lot and take anybody that's a handicapped
but
person.
only if we can find a driver.
Y'all run that, that's a good option, but also handicap is handicap.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be able to, handicap, nobody should be able to park there unless they got a handicap tag or that display. If they not, they gonna get towed. So now you got, if you're handicapped, you have that display on your tag or your windshield, or
Okay.
you take the
Well,
bus route.
Here's the
We can't
problem.
use the handicapped spaces because that's where the vendors are gonna be. So that's why we need to have something to get the handicapped people there, because that is the area where the vendors need to be. Just like they've been in the past, that the people were there and you can't use those handicapped
city
spaces
property.
that are on the side.
That's city property.
Yeah. So all
Do
the
what you
spots,
wanna do.
all the spots, how many spots of it up there? I hadn't really looked at it.
Along the, in what I consider the side or the front of the rec center, there's a number of them there. There's at least 3, maybe 4 there that I know of, but that's kind of about where the vendors are gonna be.
Okay, why don't the vendors go on the other side?
Well, we're gonna have them on the other side too.
Okay,
There's gonna be-
but I'm just going by state law, handicap is handicap, and it's kind of hard
But when you're
to,
doing an event like this, sometimes
Yeah,
you have to move the handicapped
handicap is
space
handicap.
area.
Well, the whole lot's gonna be blocked
City
off
property,
anyway, right?
handicap is
There's not
handicap.
gonna be any.
Well-
Exactly. The whole lot's gonna be blocked
Yeah,
off.
there's not any parking going on over there.
That was another
anyway.
thing that I was gonna bring up, is that, if you have handicapped people coming in, they're not gonna stay there for 4 or however long the show lasts, then they're gonna wanna leave. Well, if they are gonna be in where the traffic, where people and kids are, it can be a hazardous situation. Now, we can go over there and really look at the situation and see if we can
that's what I
figure.
want to do, I like to do that. Just go and look, cause somehow I can try to help y'all out on this, but I need to see it to know versus me speaking on it now, and I really don't know all the parking spaces at. Cause I come up with your solution if I see it.
You can't have any parking around.
Because we need to make sure the seniors
Well,
are either dropped off, because they cannot walk, that's why it's handicapped.
Y'all, I got time, we can go up and look at it tonight, tomorrow, whatever.
Okay.
I like to see that, and then we can drop a plan from there. Not only that, I just don't want to be, I won't be in court with the state as far as, even if it's on private property, but it's still considered state, if I ain't mistaken, the park area, isn't it? Yeah, so some kind, you still have to have special guidelines when you're gonna close down handicap spaces. It's kind of like us closing the road down. I still have to notify DOT if I shut down I-20, even with a wreck. I have to let them know that I'm doing a railroad crossing. I have
If you
to
can
call.
give us an idea of what we need to do,
Okay,
then
I
that
do
would be
that.
helpful.
And like I said, I like to look at it, and then I get with call the state up itself, and hey, is it okay? We temporarily gonna close down half of the candy caps, and what's the standard on doing that? And they'll let me know. Well, yeah, you can do it, or you can't do it at all. So if we can't do it, then I'll let you know. If we can, we'll do it.
Let me
ask you
explain
something.
one thing. If those handicap spaces have to stay open, then the whole show will have to be moved way over to the grass part where it'll be completely away from the rec area and the senior building.
Well, it's low.
Yeah, and if it's a law, then everything will have to be moved.
Yeah, well, I doubt it. It won't be on me. It'll be on DOT. But I'm just saying,
Right,
I
right, I
doubt
understand.
it. But I just want to just cover the
If
ground.
we do that, then everything will have to be moved over to
Yeah.
the grass. And we can't be anywhere near the buildings because of the car situation.
And don't we need power from the buildings, or do they have their
You
own
let a
power?
citizen go try to park
You
on the
can't
shelf
have
door.
vendors set up inside the gymnasium.
Anyways, right? You're gonna
Well, hope so.
take them and pick them up.
Mr.
You're
Lester,
talking about power?
Lester.
Yeah, I was wondering how, if we moved over to grass, do we run power from the building?
We will
Y'all
have
may
very
know.
limited power because
We
we'll have
had
to go
a
with the
power
generator.
generator last year, and there was a big, huge board that had, I think, 16 plug-ins in it. So we're limited on how many people can plug into
Well,
that.
not only you can't just necessarily plug in 16 people because you have to consider how much power they're drawing.
So, yeah, I mean, if you
Why
put
can't
it
you
to the
let your
handicapped, I
vendors all
don't know
set
how
up
that
in
works,
the
but that's
gymnasium?
your forte.
Yeah, if they have to
Yeah,
stay
definitely
open,
get the
Yeah,
bus.
seniors
Get the
move
bus.
them.
I agree with that.
Can't we
Because a
get
lot
the
of people
seniors
don't.
up and bring
It's a
them up to
perfect
the
answer. We
They
got
don't
up for a
want to.
cat show.
Well, we did that though, it makes sense.
There's no reason
That's
that your
only me, one
vendors
person. I think
couldn't
it
all
makes
set
sense,
up
like you said.
inside the gymnasium, have the parking lot available for the public and the seniors as it is set up on a daily basis now.
Okay, let me answer that question for you. Now, I
The
can
cat
answer partly.
cat show
It
survives.
depends.
I can't get my trailer
They
in that
don't
gym.
listen to me.
I have a trailer.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
all these
that's not the
festivals are
only thing.
outdoors.
Yeah,
you know?
that's not the only thing too. The floors there, if I remember correctly, we don't want to tear up the floors in the gym.
Basketball court.
Yeah.
See, it depends on how the people set up. They could tear the floor up, depending on how they set up.
I believe we have a cover for that floor, don't we, Lester?
It is covered.
I think we have a protected for that hardwood floor.
What about that parking lot, the Sewell? That whole parking lot.
Yeah, that's what we're using for
Good peanuts.
So we-
everybody's
Parking
parking
before.
at.
Yeah, but you got older people,
Okay.
elderly people that need to walk, and they need to be closer to the.
Shuttles.
We're trying to get a shuttle for that.
Yeah.
Okay. If
Well,
we
that'd
get
be
a
good.
shuttle, that'll help out too. But like I said, I'll check on that. And if they say it's okay, we still need to designate a lot of handicap spaces for some who
That's
want to
no
drive
problem at
still.
all.
The gym will be closed anyway, correct?
The gym will be closed except for the
Except
bathroom
for the
area.
bathrooms.
Okay.
We'll try to encourage them to park maybe in front of the place that, in front of the gym area, and to say salvage some of the spaces and still use them temporarily to drop off whatever you're gonna do. But I'll keep the bus shuttle and put that out there, because it's gonna be some gonna want to park where they can just ride the bus there versus them trying to drive and get in and get out, because the bus gonna pretty much let them off right there where the event is happening, right? So that's what I use the bus. But then I give the DOT, which I doubt I don't know what they'll say as far as us closing down spaces and using them when people not handicapped, even though it's an event. So my thing is I'll let you know on that too. But we can still salvage some of the spaces and let them use in front of the gym. Those are handicapped. But the other ones, temporarily, if you're gonna drop off and do what you're gonna do and pull out, because if somebody still come handicapped, they're gonna need a place to park.
Well, if we can get somebody to drive the van, that would be great, but we haven't got that secured yet.
Can I ask the major a question about that?
Yeah, well, you don't have to have a Class C to drive that bus.
No,
but I
but
just
you
think-
have to be.
yeah.
You gotta be
Oh, yeah,
a
city
employee.
employee. I'm saying that's gonna be on the city. I have to get with the big man and see what
do
they
you
want
need
to do about it. But
Do they need to be on
Do
the
you need
clock,
a
though?
chauffeur's license for
Yeah, you don't need no
$15,000?
passenger.
no Class C.
And everybody.
You can drive it. It's like a
They have to be
daycare
a
bus.
city
I mean,
employee.
those girls ain't got regular license. They drive these kids around. But my thing is that'll be on how we do it with the city of it. He want to volunteer to how it works, but.
Yeah, but one of the questions would be, do they need to be on time do they need to be employed by the city, be getting paid, in other words, to run that shuttle bus? Because if they have an accident, is the insurance gonna pay them if it's gonna be a volunteer?
That's already a rule.
What now?
It's already a rule that you are a city employee to drive the bus.
Yeah, the city.
But do you have to
drive.
be paid while you're doing it?
I think you could
I
volunteer.
don't know about that because we transport cars. Some officers do it on his off time. You know, it's a privilege. Take home cars. We take them to get them maintenance. You can take your car down there. We're not on the clock because we're not paying nobody to take a car. Something we give them to take home. So therefore, he's not getting paid, but he's technically taking his car down there to get it serviced and leaving it.
Okay.
So we're not paying for that. I don't know the guidelines on that. We can call the insurance company and find out. But I'm quite sure we cover it as long as they work under the city because they didn't say whether you're on the clock or off the clock because technically we hit the clock when we leave.
That's police officers. Though.
Yeah.
Have we tried
Yeah.
to get free porta potties or anything for Bobby Reed paving? I know him personally.
Well, we're using the gym bathrooms.
It worked beautifully last year.
Yeah, and we didn't seem to
So
have any
don't
trouble
have,
with
I
that.
could get you a couple, I'm sure.
Well, if,
I mean, if y'all think
but
y'all
you'll be
can do it.
responsible for it.
No, Bobby Reed ain't gonna charge me nothing. He don't see just do porta potty and everything. You know Bobby Reed. Know him forever.
You want to be when y'all want to go walk and look at this thing?
We could, you want to do it this evening?
I'm open today. It'd be better because I hate to keep putting stuff off because we got a lot of stuff in there and I can look at it and everybody welcome come up there. I mean,
Sure.
I deal with confrontation all the time, so it ain't no big deal. We can get it squashed right then and there.
Okay.
What we're gonna do? Somebody need to jot down what we're gonna do and say this is what we said we're gonna do because what'll happen? We'll sit here and say what we're gonna do and then get there. I thought he said this. No, he said that. No, he didn't say this. We put it down. Now we know what we got.
We recording it, Craig.
Oh, well, that's even better, but everybody ain't gonna be able to look at that. We got, I still want it on paper too. That's the big thing there, but I want it just so everybody agree with this is what we're gonna do. And like I said, everything that y'all coming up with, it's gonna step on somebody's toe here and there. But you gotta keep in mind, we're trying to do something for the people that represent this city. So everything ain't gonna go everybody's way. It's kind of like you go to a beach and they let you get in free, but you gotta pay for the water. But you got in free. You get what I'm saying? So we gotta look. It's gonna be something somebody don't like. So we all gonna have to agree. Well, and as long as it's to benefit the people, and then we can get through this thing smooth sailing. That's what I'm looking for.
How many vendors are you gonna have to have? How many vendors do you have?
We got approximately 15 to 20 right now. And we're still, there's some people that have called us and said, you know, can we still get in? And we said, yeah, we'll extend it to the 15th. So, you know, there's
Well, now that it's free too, I'm sure we'll have a lot more.
You can use one half of that parking lot and just keep on going straight after there with a row of vendors. Not use one half of the parking lot. Use one half and keep going straight out there.
Is there any pictures from last year?
Yeah.
I didn't see that last year.
Say people was going straight.
Well, you know, one half of the parking lot.
Came down the other side.
Straight up from the ball fields.
To my
And just go straight that way with it.
Walkway.
You mean driving or walking?
No,
Oh, okay.
setting up your vendor too.
Okay.
You've only got about 20.
As well.
Do you remember 2 years ago when we
have
were around
one
the other
line.
side, the vendors were lined up in front of the building on each side?
Yeah.
And they even had vendors down the middle too, it was 3 rows. of
Yeah,
vendors.
but we may not, if we have to keep those handicap spaces open, we can't.
I think if the parking lot's blocked,
Well, if
Yeah, but
we've
volunteer.
got people who want that to happen, so. if it
Founder's
makes
Day.
it difficult.
Who are you?
Gwendolyn Farley.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm a repack.
yeah, if that parking lot's
Is there anything else we
blocked,
need to
it's gonna be
discuss?
an issue.
You wanna sit down?
This is very exciting compared to
Oh, Jonathan, I'm gonna.
Well, if there's nothing else,
Would you go home and tell Deanna? You should.
So you'll give us a call whenever you might need us.
if your number is on here,
If
we'll
you're
be
here.
giving you a call.
Okay.
Um,
And maybe we can recruit some more volunteers.
it would be nice.
Would be nice. We've got people walking around all up there. See what I can do.
President, I suggest that we adjourn.
That branch is around.
All right. Who agrees? I do. All right.
Let me get out of here.
Well, that's it. Thank you, folks, for showing up. I appreciate it.
Excuse me. Sure. I hope I didn't wrap y'all up out here.